Hello, today we're installing a Ricochet aluminum hybrid skid plate setup on a 2014 Can-Am Maverick Max. So like with most sets of ours, you're going to start with the top piece and work your way back. So we'll take the top piece here and set it in position. Take your bolts and your cup washers. Get those started. There's a few different lengths of bolts and whatnot on this machine. There's quite a bit of hardware actually, but it's all labeled out in the hardware guide, so it's kind of good practice to go through and get all your hardware somewhat organized before you start, so you're not spending a lot of time hunting for stuff or swapping bolts out because you used a long bolt where you didn't need to, and now your bolt isn't long enough where you're at now. So like I say, a lot of hardware on this, so best to just lay it all out, get it all organized beforehand. So the first two bolts are in. We use a bar clamp in here, and on all of our hardware that we supply, all of our clamps and whatnot, they use a locking nut, so you're going to want to put a little bit of anti-seize on there. It just makes the installation a lot smoother, and also if you ever need to take your skid plates off for any reason, you shouldn't have any rust issues or anything like that. Slide that through. Get it started. That was greasy. Okay, now for the next two mounts right here on this plate, I'm actually not going to install those bolts right now since we are doing the hybrid plastic overlay. That's a common mount with the plastic, so we're just going to leave those out for now. If you're not installing the plastic, there's some 8mm by 50mm button head bolts that go there with a nut on top. There's already a hole in the frame there for you. But we're going to skip that step since I'm doing the plastic like I said. Okay, move on down the line and grab the next plate. It's a big, kind of heavy one. Okay, now this plate actually slides under this top piece here. Just like that. Let's start this other one first. See, that's where I just made a mistake. I didn't pay attention to my bolt length. So let's swap these out. That looks a little better. And also all these plates, we're just going to leave loose for now. Just for any adjustment that we might need to make as we go down the line. So you want to get everything on and all the bolts started and in before you really tighten anything down. That's self-tapping. Let's come forward. There we go. Okay, let's see where we're at. Here's the hardware placement guide. This is extremely handy, especially on this machine. Okay, it's the smaller spacer in these back two locations. Okay, everything's in and loose. One thing with Can-Am is their mounts for their skid plates float quite a bit, so I can already tell a couple of these cup washers aren't going to sit down quite right. If that is the case, you can go ahead and open up the hole if you need to. They just float by a lot, so it's kind of one of those deals. But this doesn't look too bad. There's just a couple we may have to address, but we're going to get everything else on before we worry about that. Okay, onto the rear plate. And again, make sure you refer to your hardware guide to get the spacers in the correct position. Okay, now the last two holes on that plate aren't tapped. The mount's there, but they haven't put a thread in it. So that's where we have a 1/4-20 self-tapping bolt, and you'll go ahead and use that in that location. Like I said, it's marked on the hardware sheet. These are a little tight going through the cup washers too. You can have to thread these through. Or if you have a drill handy, you can always just open up the hole a little bit. We're actually going to open up the holes on ours for this issue. We don't have many of these self-tapping bolts, but they are used in a few different sets. But once you get it in, it just threads right in. Put your spacer, and then you're going to get it up in here, and basically you got to push while you turn, and you want to go real slow and keep it as straight as you can, and you'll feel when it starts to bite. And then you're good to go from there. So there's two locations that you have to do that on. Yeah, there you go. All right, so all the mounting locations for that one. Again, we're leaving everything loose. And for the rear piece here, it doesn't use any cup washers. It uses 2 of our bar clamps and a couple of our nut plates. And again, that's hardware you're going to want to anti-seize. will be the clamps in the front mounts. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and tighten that one down while I'm down here, since all the other body plates are on. That one you have to get a wrench on to hold the nut plate and keep it from spinning. So yeah, just get up in there with a wrench and just grab the nut and keep it from spinning so you can tighten that down. Okay, that's the rear tightened down. And we'll just work our way forward. These are the quarter 20 self tappers. It's a 3/8 socket that you'll need for that. Everything else is 10 millimeter. Just need to get this plate to come forward just a little bit. There we go. Let's see it a little better. All right, that's tight, and this plate's tight. Yeah, Can-Am does a real good job with their mounting. Alright, yeah, some of these are going to need some love. Okay, now that everything's in and seated, we can just go through and tighten everything up. And then for the clamp and the clamps and the bar clamp, it's all a T40 Torx. Okay, well, that's the belly skids on. I guess we can do floorboards next. If you have the aftermarket or the accessory, then I guess they're not aftermarket, they are Can-Am. The accessory mud flaps, you need to pull those off to install the floorboards. Actually, you don't need to pull it all the way off. Just pull the two inboard bolts, and that'll loosen it up, it gave you your clearance to get the plate in there. The plate tucks in underneath that. These floorboards, it's actually easier to install the rear one first. They do overlap at the seam. They share a common mount, so the front overlaps the rear. These are held in place using our bar clamps here. So it's going to take 4 of them. You can just slide it into here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's do the other side while I'm at it. Okay. Okay, with these, you're going to want to put anti-seize on all these bolts. And then to get this going, you can reach your finger in there and slide that bar clamp to get it to line up. Get your bolt started. Okay, and then this one I actually need to pull out since they do overlap. That was just to start it off. Okay, now the front floorboard, like I said, it's going to tuck in underneath that mud flap. I don't think I got it. Okay, all the bolts are started on this now. Just adjust your fit. I think we're pretty good here. And then we'll go ahead and start tightening things down. Okay, so that's that, and then you can go ahead and just reinstall the 2 bolts that you removed to get that mud flap out of the way. Okay, that's the floorboards. So we'll go up and loosen the other side on that mud flap. Let's say it's the 2 inboard bolts you're going to take out. And again, on these, you're going to want to start with the rear. A little anti-seize. Okay, those are all started. You can move to the front now. Okay, everything's all on and started. Get everything tucked in and seated correctly. Just like the other side, go ahead and tighten it all up. Okay, and then just reinstall those 2 bolts for that mud flap. And that mud flap, like I said, that's only for the Can-Am accessory. We actually have a different floorboard for the ones without this mud flap and larger fender flare. So it's kind of the same, but a little bit different, but not much. Okay, and we can go ahead and move on to the A-arms. Our A-arms use the clamps. So again, you're going to want to put anti-seize on all those bolts. And installing our A-arms, and just get it up, slide it in position. It's actually easier to start one of the front clamps instead of one of the rear. If you start one of the front, there we go. You get one of the front started and you can just let it hang like that. If you start one of the rear first, it'll just fall off. So it's a little easier to start one of the fronts, then you just let it hang and then move on and get the rest of your hardware squared away and installed. Okay, get everything started and loose, and what you're going to want to do is turn the wheel full lock. Make sure that you have clearance in here by the brake disc and the upright and all that. This looks pretty good. Yeah, that's good here. You want to open it up the other way. Make sure you're still good, and we are. All right. So we can go ahead and just tighten that down. Okay, and we'll just do the exact same thing for the other side. Okay, now we can go ahead and do the rears. Rears are pretty much the same as the fronts, except for you don't have to worry about the wheels turning left to right. Okay, that is the installation of Ricochet aluminum armor. Like I said, we're doing the full hybrid setup and everything too, so we will go ahead and now proceed with that installation. Now these hybrid skids, they install with the nut inserts that are already in your aluminum plates. If you've ordered the hybrid set, we'll put the inserts in for you. And kind of the same as we did before, we're going to leave everything a little loose, get everything started, leave it a little loose, and go back and tighten it all down. Okay, now with this, there's two common mounts right here. So I need to pull these out for now. And for those common mounts, there's the 3/16 spacer that you need to insert there. So just pull that out and put the spacer on it and slide it back in. And the other spacer. Okay, move on to the rear piece. Okay, so all those are on. Now, while we don't recommend zipping these in with a impact, I'm going to, because it's a little guy, and I'm not too worried about it over torquing these. But it's best to do it by hand. Oh, I missed one. Okay, that's the floorboard plastic. Now we, or the main plastic, now we'd have to do the floorboard plastic. The floorboard is mounted in the exact same way with the cup washers and the flange bolt. There are lefts and rights. Okay, now we just have to do that nut and bolt there on that common mount. Under this flap will make it easier to get to. Okay, that's that. I just put the two bolts back in, those mud flaps on the inside here that we pulled out. And we are done. And that's the installation of our Ricochet aluminum and hybrid skid plates. Thank you very much.